The Bears have fired their head coach and are looking for a replacement. Who could be the chosen one? The name of a Vikings defensive coordinator is buzzing loud. Could this be the change we need to return to glory? But that's not all. A Bears player has broken the silence and pointed to the offensive coordinator as the root of many team problems. Yeah, you heard that right. The chaos in the coaching staff is at its peak, and changes are already underway. Can the new offensive coordinator turn the team around? And if that wasn't enough, the frustration in the locker room has reached a critical point. Players have rebelled against their head coach after a series of mistakes that cost us crucial games. The locker room turned into a battlefield. With a 4-8 record, can the new interim head coach bring hope back to the Bears? Find out now. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like to stay up to date with all the news. The news of the day is that the Chicago Bears are on the hunt for a new head coach after giving Matt Eberflus the boot. Yeah, you heard it right. Eberflus joins the list of coaches who couldn't cut the mustard. With a 14-32 record in 46 games, it's no shocker the team decided to shake things up. So, who could be next to take the reins? I'm telling you this, Brian Flores is a name that's making waves. Why? Let's break it down. Flores, currently the Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator, has a rep for being a tough-as-nails, no-nonsense coach. He's coming off a stint as the Miami Dolphins head honcho from 2019 to 2021. Though his record was 24-25, you've got to consider he was working with a team lacking in talent. Even so, his squad's always played with fire in their belly and managed a winning record in his last 2 seasons, including 10 W's in 2020. But what does this mean for the Bears? I'm asking you, isn't that exactly what we need? A coach who demands the best from his players and isn't afraid to tell it like it is. Flores is known for his straight-shooter approach and his ability to light a fire under his players through discipline and hard work. Recently, Caleb Williams, our young gunslinger, showed his chops by shredding Flores' Vikings defense in Week 12. Williams completed 32 of 47 passes for 340 yards and 2 touchdowns, with no picks and a passer rating of 103.1. This shows Williams has the goods to thrive under a demanding coach like Flores. And here's where I'm asking you, don't you think a coach with Flores' experience and toughness could be just the ticket to turn this franchise around? Flores not only brings a winning mindset, but also a work ethic that could resonate with the Chicago fan base, who've always valued grit and dedication. However, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Flores had his share of drama in Miami, especially with owner Stephen Ross, who allegedly asked him to throw games for a better draft pick. Flores said no way and slapped the league with a discrimination lawsuit, which sure as heck didn't make him Mr. Popular among NFL bigwigs. But I'm telling you this, the McCaskies, the Bears owners, value integrity and might see Flores as someone who fits their bill of doing things the right way. Under Flores' watch, the Vikings defense has been turning heads this season, ranking 5th in points allowed and 1st in forced turnovers. They're also tops in rushing yards and touchdowns allowed. This shows Flores knows how to build a brick wall of a defense, something the Bears are in dire need of. So, what do you think, fans? Is Brian Flores the right man to lead the Chicago Bears? Is his tough-as-nails approach and work ethic what we need to bring our team back to glory? Amid all the recent chaos in the Chicago Bears coaching staff, one of our players has come out swinging, saying many of the problems started with hiring Shane Waldron as offensive coordinator. Yeah, you heard that right. According to a player who spilled the beans to The Athletic, the team messed up by adding Waldron to the coaching staff from the jump. I'm telling you this, when a player comes out and says something like that, you've got to sit up and take notice. This anonymous player mentioned that Waldron just didn't demand things properly. What does this mean? I'm asking you, how can a team thrive if their offensive coordinator isn't laying down the law and setting the right expectations? Waldron, who spent the previous 3 seasons as the Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator, was brought on board by the Bears in January. From the get-go, there were signs he might not be the right fit for the job. Even Seahawks receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba gave an awkward response when asked if Waldron was the right guy to run the Bears' offense. 5 seconds of silence followed by a good luck isn't exactly a ringing endorsement. Compare this to Luke Getsy, the Bears' offensive coordinator in 2023, who also had experience in Sean McVay's system. But Waldron failed to live up to expectations and was shown the door after just 9 games. The straw that broke the camel's back was a 19-3 beatdown by the New England Patriots, where the offense only managed a measly 142 total yards, and Caleb Williams was sacked 9 times. 9 times, folks! That's just unacceptable. Since Thomas Brown took over as offensive coordinator, we've seen immediate improvements. Williams has thrown for 827 yards, 5 touchdowns, and completed 64.1% of his attempts in 3 games with Brown calling the shots. Compare that to the 468 yards, 0 touchdowns, and a 50.5% completion rate in his last 3 games under Waldron. The difference is night and day, and if that wasn't enough, the organization broke with tradition by firing Matt Eberflus, the first head coach in Bears history to get the axe during the season, after a 23-20 loss to the Detroit Lions. It's a time of major shakeups for a franchise trying to develop a rookie quarterback. I'm telling you this, it's better to rip off the Band-Aid now and know we're going to rebuild the entire coaching staff in the offseason rather than trying to drag things out just because that's how it's always been done. The Bears need a culture change, and it looks like they're finally willing to do what it takes to make it happen. So, fans, what do you think about this whole situation? Do you believe the recent changes are a step in the right direction? Is Thomas Brown the answer for our offense? And more importantly, who should be the next head coach of the Chicago Bears? After the Week 13 debacle, the Bears players finally said enough is enough. Frustration and discontent reached a boiling point, and the locker room turned into a war zone. Head coach Matt Eberflus's game management blunders were the last straw. I'm telling you this, losing 6 games in a row, especially the way we lost them, is unacceptable. Each of those games came down to the wire, and every time, Eberflus made management mistakes that cost us the W. Players were sick and tired of putting their blood, sweat, and tears on the field, only to see their efforts go down the drain due to questionable coaching decisions. In the game against the Detroit Lions, with 32 seconds left and a timeout in their pocket, Eberflus didn't use the timeout. The offense took too long to get set, and the result was an incomplete deep pass to Rome Odunze that ended up being the last play of the game. Confusion reigned on the field and sidelines, and players and coaches, including those from the Lions, couldn't believe what was happening. After the game, the locker room was in chaos. Eberflus tried to give his usual "we need to stay together" speech, but the players, especially cornerback Jaylon Johnson, weren't having it. Johnson got in Eberflus's face in a heated exchange, and other players joined in, questioning why they had lost with a timeout still available. According to reports, Eberflus had to bail from the locker room immediately after his speech and the exchange with the players. I'm asking you, how can a team function when there's so much internal dissension? Players were tired of hearing the same talking points without seeing real changes. They felt Eberflus wasn't taking responsibility for his mistakes. Even in his last press conference, Eberflus seemed to throw Caleb Williams, the rookie quarterback, under the bus for the errors. The Bears' season has been a roller coaster ride. With a 4-8 record, we could have easily won all the games in the losing streak. Plus, the other 2 losses of the season, in Week 2 against the Houston Texans and Week 3 against the Indianapolis Colts, were also 1-point losses due to coaching errors. We shouldn't forget management's role in this fiasco. They decided to give Eberflus another shot this season despite previous mistakes. Offensive coordinator Luke Getsy and almost the entire offensive staff were shown the door. Many felt Eberflus should have been canned along with Getsy, but it didn't happen. Despite revamping the offense and adding to the defense, the Bears have played the same losing football they've played for most of the last 2 decades. A once hopeful season has deteriorated to the point where players first rebelled against their offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, and then against their head coach. Weeks earlier, some veterans approached Eberflus and Bears management asking for a change in the struggling offense under Waldron. Now, both Waldron and Eberflus are out. Thomas Brown has stepped in as interim head coach. With all the discontent surrounding the team, Brown has had a meteoric rise in his coaching career. He was the Bears' passing game coordinator and then was promoted to offensive coordinator. Brown found a way to unlock the offense. In the first 3 games with him as OC, the Bears scored 66 points and racked up 1,090 total yards of offense. In the previous 3 games during the losing streak, they scored only 27 points and 690 total yards. Now Brown has been elevated to head coach. He'll have a 5-game audition to prove if he deserves to have the interim tag removed. One thing's for sure, the players certainly appreciate him. They're type A personalities, so they need someone who can keep them in line and show who's boss. Players have said they love that about Brown. He's a no-nonsense coach and demands a lot from his players. Maybe being a former player has earned him some respect among the current players. It worked in his first 3 games as OC. Let's see what happens now that he's the head honcho. So, fans, what do you think about all these changes? Is Thomas Brown the leader we need to bring the Bears to victory? How do you think this tumultuous season will affect the team's future? Chicago Bears fans, what do you think about Brian Flores possibly coming in as our new leader? Do you believe his toughness and work ethic are the key to bringing glory back to our team? Also, I'd love to hear your take on the recent changes in the team. Do you think we're heading in the right direction? Could Thomas Brown be the solution we need to revitalize our offense? Finally, with all these changes in motion, do you believe Thomas Brown is the leader we need to bring the Bears to victory? How do you think this roller coaster of a season will impact our team's future? We want to hear your opinions. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be part of this incredible fan community that's like one big family. Together, we can keep supporting and discussing our favorite team. Subscribe and comment below. See you in the next video. And as always, go Bears!